Hi everyone. This video will go over the literary analysis and what is expected with this essay. In this module we are working in the discipline of humanities and in particular literature. So this module again is broken down into reading assignments, resources, and writing assignments. And I need to make sure that all students go through and look at all links provided so that you have a general overall understanding of what a literary analysis is, and also look at all the samples and examples that I've provided to help you in the process of writing your own literary analysis. If you look under the reading assignments, we've got what is a literary analysis, and then here is the literary analysis PowerPoint. The PowerPoints in each module are very important, and we'll go through and break down this process of writing a literary analysis essay. So please be sure to view this PowerPoint and ask questions if you have any. I have posted a short story here because your literary analysis is going to be analyzing a short story. So I have provided one here as a sample. So nobody will be writing on this story, but it's a short story. It's a really good short story by Shirley Jackson called The Lottery. And if you click here, it will open in a new window and will give you the story itself. So you can read through the story, and then I've even offered a little video clip because they actually made this into a little, like, I want to say like D-rated movie. I mean, it's not very good quality at all because it was back in the 70s when this was made, but the story was back in 1948, but the video was like the 70s. So, but you can get the idea of what this story is about, and it kind of brings the story to life to watch it in the video clip. So I provided a video clip here. And then down here at the bottom where it says resources for planning and writing your essay, what I've done is I've actually created a brainstorming example based on the sample story that I provided, The Lottery. So you can look at that, see how I've planned out if I were to write about this short story. Again, which students are not, it's just used as a sample here. But if I were writing about this short story, this would be how I would brainstorm my ideas. And then there is also a, where is it at? Sample essay for this particular short story, The Lottery. Right here it is, I'm sorry. You've got the outline here. This is an outline sample that you could use to go by. But here's the analysis, the literary analysis of The Lottery, the short story here. So what I've provided is I provided a sample short story. I provided kind of some brainstorming for this essay, and I provided an actual essay written about this short story that analyzes it. So you can have something to go by and guide your thinking and guide your writing. So these right here are resources for planning and writing your essay. Here, right here, there's a literary terms list, and this you'll have a quiz at the end of this module. You'll have a quiz about literary terms, but that's going to be the basis for your analysis of the short story. You're going to read the short story and determine what literary terms the author uses in the short story and how those terms, those devices, those techniques are beneficial in the story, what they mean, why they're used, and why they help the overall understanding of the story come to life. So that's what this link is here for. But if you scroll down in the resources again for planning your essay, you've got Artemis right here, which is the literary database. Whenever you write your literary analysis essay, you're going to have two sources that are required: the short story and then one literary, scholarly, credible article from this database. Okay, and you can access this. This is a Western Piedmont database. You can access this here. You most likely will have to put your username and password in that you would get into Moodle. Or you can go through Western Piedmont's homepage and click on Library, then Online Resources, and then you can find the database there as well. You've also got NC Live, which is another database that you could use, and then Academic OneFile. So these are the three databases that you could use to find your one scholarly credible article that focuses on the short story that you choose. And here are your writing assignments, okay? You've got the literary analysis discussion board here. You'll click on this to see what the assignment is. So I'm going to click on it. All right. And what it does, it's basically revolving or focusing on the short story, The Lottery, that we used as a sample, but it's going to ask you some questions about the lottery, which causes you to dive a little deeper and try to pull out a little bit of understanding and meaning that may not be on the surface. So you'll need to make sure that you respond to these. You'll add a new discussion topic. You'll click it right here, and then make sure you give it a title, which you could do lottery questions, or you could put your name. And then you want to do number 1, number 2, number 3, and make sure you answer each part of these individual questions. They're kind of open-ended, and there's really not necessarily a right or wrong answer for some of them. So you want to make sure you are detailed in your responses, and that you also respond to at least one other student. And again, you don't want to simply just agree or disagree with them. You want to agree and tell why you agree with what they said, or you disagree and then give another viewpoint. So just make sure you are elaborative in your original response and then your response to another student. If you do not respond to another student, that's a 10-point deduction. So make sure you respond to at least another student. That's what a discussion board is it promotes discussion. Okay, so I'm going to go back out. Make sure you look at the due dates. Okay, look at the due dates for all of your assignments. The literary terms quiz. You click on this and take the literary terms quiz. A lot of this is going to be review of previous classes and review of information you already know. So in order to take this quiz, you'll need to have already looked at the literary terms list up here. Okay, I've provided this link for you, and when you click on it, it gives you all the terms, and then click on each term to see what they are and what they mean. And again, like I said, it's going to be a review for pretty much everybody. Look at the due date for that one, and then you've got your first draft and your final draft here. So let's click on the first draft. If you click here, your instructions are inside this link. So let's click on the instructions and look at the instructions for a second. It is very important that you follow all instructions. Don't pick and choose what to follow. Now, what I have here is I have 3 stories listed, and you're going to look at these stories. I've provided the links for each one, so you can either click on them or you can copy and paste them to your browser. And you want to figure out which story you want to write about. Okay, it could be Story of an Hour, The Yellow Wallpaper, and then The Telltale Heart by Edgar Allan Poe. These are probably pretty familiar stories. The Story of an Hour is the shortest of the stories listed here, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's the easiest to analyze. So look through these. You can even do some Google searches about the stories to see which one maybe that would be more appealing for you to write about, okay? You have to pick from one of these stories. If you click on this link up here for Story of an Hour, it gives you a bunch of different short stories. Remember, you're not going to write about the other stories. If you're going to choose from this link, it's going to have to be Story of an Hour. So here are your 3 stories that you can choose from. Choose one. Once you've decided, your essay is going to be at least 2 full pages. Your 3rd page will be your works cited page that has the 2 sources required. Remember, your short story and the article that you choose from one of the databases in Western Piedmont's database collection. So here, it's an MLA essay. And if you click on the MLA resources, and let me go back to Moodle to show you that. If you go back to the MLA resources that I provide, and it just logged me out, give me 1 second. If you go back to the MLA link, it's also in the course resources folder as well, and you can look, if you look right here, let's see, MLA. The MLA resources are right here in the course resources tab. You can click on those, and then you can see how to cite sources and so forth. So again, 2 sources are required. The story you're analyzing and the article. This tells about how to use the databases. The organization, Please be sure to see the literary analysis PowerPoint in Moodle. It's very important. It will break down what your paper should look like. You're going to choose 3 literary devices. So go back to that literary terms link and that quiz you took. And you're going to choose, read whatever story you want, choose the story that you want to write about from the list, and then decide what 3 literary devices were used in the story and that you could really explain and write about, like whether it is symbols or irony or imagery, or it could be similes and metaphors. Whatever you see used in those story or that story, that will be what you're writing about. And remember, this is not a summary of the story. This is an analysis. So you're going to have to dig deeper than the surface. Look for deeper meaning through the use of literary terms that are used in these stories. If you look here, I've explained how to cite the story that you choose. So no matter what it is, this example is a story of an hour. So this is what it's going to look like on your works cited page. And then when cited within your essay, it's going to be Chopin in parentheses. If you're writing about the yellow wallpaper, or if you're writing about the Edgar Allan Poe story, Telltale Heart, you're just going to change these terms to fit the short story that you're writing about. Okay, so it's pretty simple. It'd be Poe, comma, Edgar Allan, period, in quotation marks, it'll be the Telltale Heart, period, and then you'll just add the URL for that particular story. And then when cited within the essay, it would be Poe. Same thing with Charlotte Perkins Gilman with the yellow wallpaper. Fill it in as it would fit your story, and that's the correct format you will use. This one for the works cited page, this one within your essay. And you should use direct quotes and even some paraphrases from the short story to support your points. If you say that there's irony in there, you need to give an example or a quote that illustrates that. If there's imagery, tell how it illustrates that. But be sure you make sure that you explain why the author used irony, why it was important, what is the significance, why does it add to the story, why does it give a better understanding of the story. That's what you're focusing on when you're analyzing these stories. And then you've got literary conventions here. Make sure you definitely read through this. No first person, no second person, which is like you, like referring to your reader. Short story titles are put in quotation marks. Avoid summarizing, except for in your introduction you can give a brief summary. Use literary terms to discuss your points. I've listed some here as well. And then make sure that you support your points with several quotes and paraphrases. No contractions like don't, won't, can't, aren't. Make sure you write those out, because contractions are considered informal writing. And then of course use the databases to find your sources. And use all resources in Moodle that show you how to write this essay, in particular the PowerPoint. Okay, so once you have completed the first draft, you'll submit it here as a Word document or PDF, and then I will give you feedback. And once you get that feedback, then you will submit your final draft for the essay. Please make sure you make corrections. Again, I cannot stress to you enough, the literary analysis PowerPoint right here shows the breakdown of what your essay should look like. So definitely click on this PowerPoint, look at it, study it, and ask questions if you need to. And again, view the sample short story I provided, look at the process of which I would brainstorm and create my planning for this essay, and then what the essay would look like. So always model your essays by the samples. If you have questions, please let me know.